In my hiring approaches, I really want to get the company clear on what's special about them. In small business, you can really kind of create like have a family atmosphere. We are high performance and looking for really achievers. We care about your personal life and life balance. And if the company can find out what those things are that makes them special, the good employees enjoy, use that in your promotion with your attracting. Because if you can find the people that want to work at your company that have the qualifications, then it's much easier to work with them and they're going to fit into the team. And the process is, you don't have to hire the hot gun out there that's going to be your top seller. Those are harder to find. If you find them, great. In general, you just want good people that can get the job done.
Welcome to the Kind Boss podcast, brought to you by Outsourcing Angel, an Australian-based social enterprise that specializes in helping business owners free up their time and reduce staffing costs while helping to create employment opportunities for people in developing countries. Visit outsourcingangel.com today. Now, let me welcome your host, Linh Podetti.
Hello, kind listeners. I'm your host, Linh Podetti. Today, we'll be speaking to a kind boss, Rene Zamora, founder of Sales Manager Now and author of Part-Time Sales Management for Small Business Sales Team. After 27 years of sales and sales management experience combined with a small business training and consulting practice, he founded Sales Manager Now in 2006. Over the course of leading 2,500 sales meetings, managing 20 to 30 salespeople per month, and collaborating with small business owners, he discovered his service was solving a larger problem, the small business sales management dilemma. Small businesses need a professional sales leader or manager, but the job is not challenging enough to attract a full-time professional. Listen on as he shares how his system of outsourced sales management is working to grow sales for small businesses around the world. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Kind Boss podcast. And today I have Rene Zamora all the way from California. Welcome.
Yes. Hey, great. I love the kind boss. Yay, yes. I like kind bosses. They're fun to work for.
Yeah, and that's why you're here, because you're one of them, right?
I try to be.
Yeah, and I wanted to really talk to you because I was kind of really intrigued with the term outsourced sales manager, because I've been in the outsourcing world for a long time, and I guess a business manager or outsourced chief financial officer, let's say, like virtual CFO. But I actually haven't thought about the virtual sales, but it makes a lot of sense. So can you tell me more about, how did you get to where you are and doing what you're doing?
It's a journey. Okay. So there's a lot to tell there. I'll see if I can compact it, make it interesting. I had a career in sales and sales management, so that's where it's all started. I loved when I moved out of sales into management. I just really like working with the teams. I'm a coach. I coached soccer for 15 years. I like helping people do better. And so I really like that. And then the industry, I was in the mobile industry, the cellular telephone industry. And through 6 acquisitions, I kept getting a little bit of a promotion, a little more money. Then finally they said, "You're paid too much, you're out." And so I was out and I didn't know what I was going to do. This was in 2001. And so I started looking for consulting work, and I started doing a training business. I was doing high performance leadership and team training. I really liked that because I had learned a lot from my boss, really lead and manage people. We demanded a lot, no problem there. I'll take a challenge, but he was kind. He would come visit us. He would stop by my employees' desks and learn about their families, So he was kind.
Yeah.
But you wanted to do your best for him. So that led to the training program. I was doing that great. What was missing there? I was teaching people things, but then they were leaving. I can remember being in the room. Everyone left, and I'm just there by myself, And you see, there's this weird, lonely feeling. You're in a room with 20 people. You're teaching them all day, and then they just take off. Anyway, I did that for 5 years, but I wasn't really fulfilled during that last year. I was really struggling, actually. I found a buddy, and we were just praying for new direction for me. The direction finally came, and someone said, "You should be a sales manager for small businesses." And I said, seriously, that day I looked at her, first time I met her, and I said, "I'm going to do that." I said, "I feel like I've been praying and you just gave me an answer." And so I said, "Do you know what my company name should be?" And her husband gave me my name, Sales Manager Now. And my friend that was praying with me said, "I know who your first customer is going to be," and signed them up. And it's been going ever since. So that's how I got started.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? It's a difference between what you described as outsource CFO or IT or marketing. Is it's not very often that they're managing people. They're usually managing process, managing technology, advising, but having to actually manage like, 6 salespeople at a place virtually and dealing with tough situations. Today, I had to let someone go. I had to do an improvement plan a month ago. And this today, it didn't improve. And so dealing with that stuff. But yeah, we do that, hiring
Okay,
people.
so the company actually give you I guess, do you have the authority to manage those employees, those salespeople, and have the
Right.
rights to kind of go, they're not a good fit for your company?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, and depending on the company, sometimes we're involved in the leadership meetings. Just depends how structured that business, how big they are. And so this company does have a manager meeting every week. So we're part of that because we're the management. So I really like to think about people as don't think of, we're contract, right? Think of us as contract employees because we really,
Yes.
even though we're not technically employees, we act like it. We're in.
When you have to let go of a non-performing salesperson, do you then kind of consult with the CEO and go, look, this is, yeah, of course. And then when they say, yes, sure, then your responsibility to do the hard work of letting them go too.
Do the communication, but you get HR involved in whatever government protocols need to take place. So yeah, we try to really be careful about all that, and they're leading that end, and I just do manage the communication and the documentation and things like that.
Yeah. So what's the typical challenge that a small business have if they don't have someone like yourself, like a part-time sales manager handling the department? What could happen? What would be the negative consequences, I guess?
Well, probably the biggest negative consequence I see in many businesses that businesses that are like wanting to grow. So there's businesses that are just happy being what they are, and then it's just normal little peddly stuff, personality stuff. But there's always enough business. But someone who wants to grow and keeps pushing up against it is if that sales team isn't being led, they start getting a negative belief about them. Expectations haven't been made clear. There isn't enough leadership to keep them focused. And so you just start thinking poorly about your employee. You start becoming an unkind boss in your spirit and in your heart. You're kind on the outside, but you're burning
Yeah.
inside.
Because
So
sales can be quite a lonely game. And especially like, what if it's a company that has one salesperson? Like, would you still be able to come in and motivate that person, or it kind of works more when it's more than one?
actually, no, I have one person who I coach. And so we have a weekly meeting. It's just us two. It's not me drilling on it. It just varies. It's not really about motivation too, Lynn. It's salespeople need to bring their own motivation. And so if you're bringing in a manager who could motivate them, then maybe the wrong people. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they should be motivated. My job is to take the obstacles out of the way, things that are processes and systems, products that don't work, right? Customer service is broken, like get those things fixed and then get them tools, clear expectations, making sure they know when they're on track and off track. It's one thing to tell someone this is your goal. It's another thing to show them that you inspect it regularly. Then they know it's important.
Yeah. And so would you say that sometimes they're not motivated because they don't have the support or the process or the system? They kind of feel stuck, so they're unmotivated. Could that be a case as well?
I will say, I would say so, because every motivated person isn't that, charging highest energy person. I mean, I got sales rep that comes to my mind right now that was, quiet when I first started working with them. There was the loud people and the talkers. Then there's the quiet one that doesn't talk much. But just in my first meeting with her, I saw she cared, Yeah. I mean, she took a year to kind of come going, but I mean, she's hitting it right now. She's like in the number 2 slot out of 6 of them. And she was like number 5 last year. Yeah. She doesn't look the motivation, but it's what's in the heart, not what's showing outside.
Yeah. So what would be your tips around hiring salespeople? I guess in sales, they are motivated. Well, they're incentivized with, commission and this and that. But yeah, tell me more about how best to hire them and how best to kind of bring the best out of them.
Okay. And my hiring approach is I really want to get the company clear on what's special about them. In small business, you can really kind of create, like have a family atmosphere, we are high performance and looking for really achievers. We care about your personal life and life balance. And if the company can find out what those things are that makes them special, the good employees enjoy, use that in your promotion with your attracting. Because if you can find the people that want to work at your company that have the qualifications, then it's much easier to work with them and they're going to fit into the team and the processes You don't have to hire the hot gun out there that's going to be your top seller. Those are harder to find. If you find them, great. In general, you just want good people that can get the job done.
Okay. And would you say, what if someone, it seems kind of like has potential, seems motivated, but has no idea about your industry, kind of like, yeah, would you say to, I don't know, is it worth giving them that chance?
Depends on the industry. It really does. If they can get up to speed and there's enough support and learning, and you have budget to allow them to have the learning curve, with some upfront salary or something. So it just depends on that person, and the industry varies.
Oh, okay. Cool. So in terms of compensation, like, does it always start with, I guess, more of a fixed salary with smaller commission, and it slowly evolves to like almost just pure commission? Is that how it kind of works? Because I mean, I haven't had that much experience in hiring salespeople. I have one sales consultant. Yeah. So I used to do all the sales. Now I have one sales consultant. And so I'm still kind of new in this game. I don't know what's the right protocol. Well,
I always look at it this way. Whoever's taking the more risk should get more of the profit. So if someone's on straight commission, they should get a higher piece of every sale.
Yeah. And what would that be in terms of percentage?
I have a whole blog on my website.
Okay.
It goes into it in details. It's actually, if you looked it up, it's called You're Paying Your Salespeople How Much? It's one of my most popular blogs. Okay. You can put a link on it for people.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it goes through the whole formula of what percentage, how do you first evaluate your gross profit, and how much percentage to the salesperson, and how do you equate that to goals, and then what to set the goal and what you should expect. So I break it all down for you. It's too much for this.
Yeah, I need that.
Yep. Okay, so that'll help you there. It's a little bit complicated, but there's a worksheet. But I'm just trying to teach you this one concept, though. If you give more salary, you're going to give lower percentage. And so what happens is that at the certain level of volume you should have, like if you want your person to sell $1 million a year, that's like it's not the break even, but it's the barometer where once that gets hit, anything over that, if it's a high salary, the company should earn more. If it's a low salary, the salesperson should earn more, because whoever's taking more risk, I always say, should get more reward in the long run.
Yeah. And would you say, let's say you hired someone and they're more like inclining to have a bigger salary and lower commission, does that indicate that they're too safe, and maybe they're not as motivated or a go-getter as someone that's willing to like almost be entrepreneurial, even though they're working with you and they're just earning commission? Would that dictate that?
No, it wouldn't. People like to throw money try to create, like you said, the incentive, the motivation, whatever, to drive people. And with some people, it does. But usually the people that are already motivated, and then they want more, right? But some people are motivated by doing the job well. And so by defining what the expectations are, what the team goal is, how that team goal contributes to the company goal, and everyone's understanding that, then people can work really hard. They don't even get a commission just because they're committed to the goal. And actually, that is, more people are committed to the goal than to the money. They like the money, but they'll feel more pressure. They could always say like, well, okay, I didn't earn it, and live with it. But if they have to face their teammates and say, I didn't do my part, it's harder. They work harder. So that's where the management piece, first question you asked me, what happens at places? When you're not actively managing a team, you lose those opportunities to find those internal motivations of people that want to sell more. And you just start throwing incentives. Gosh, they're not motivated. Okay, let's give them some bonus on that.
Yeah.
You start throwing money at it instead of management time. And so that's how that works.
Yeah, I got it.
Want to make a difference in others' lives? Join us in providing food, medical supplies, and daily living necessities to tribal communities living in extreme poverty in the Philippines. For as little as $50, you can feed a whole village and have peace of mind that 100% of your donations goes directly to those in need. Be a part of our OA Love projects and visit outsourcingangel.com.
Okay, well, before I go into more questions, actually, I want to break it up with a segment called High Five. So I'm going to ask you just 5 questions, this or that. So you choose a choice and elaborate on your choice so that we could get to know Rene a little bit more. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Number 1, nothing too scared. Number 1, a trip to Bali or a trip to Vietnam?
Vietnam. Bali seems more like I've seen it on TV or something more, and Vietnam is more mysterious to me. So I'm kind of like,
yeah, I agree. I'm Vietnamese, by the way. And yeah, Vietnam is not as touristy and there's still a lot of culture left. So yeah, highly recommend that. Number 2, meditation or journaling?
Probably journaling. I do both, but I like writing.
I agree too. Yeah, I find journaling a lot more therapeutical, and meditation sometimes, it's
I get lost.
Yeah.
I'm not meditating anymore. I'm thinking hard. Business owners,
Right.
we can't help ourselves.
Yeah, it's a lot clearer when you're journaling, you're doing journaling, right? Meditation, right. Sometimes you don't have a good effective session. Number 3, a block of chocolate or a packet of chips?
Oh, chocolate. But it has to be from my neighbor who just an amazing chocolatier, and she's a baker. She brings over like French pastries that she's learning online. I'm so lucky.
Oh my God. But how often do you get those chocolates?
Recently, a lot. Now this COVID thing's going on.
Everyone's nice. That's everyone.
Yeah.
And she's home more doing chocolates,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Not sure if you do this, but number 4, red or white wine?
Red.
Okay, you're a drinker. That's why I asked. I don't know if you do this. It's kind of sometimes like you ask the wrong question, someone that doesn't drink. But red wine, you do drink red wine?
Yeah, so I love red wine. Yeah, we like wines.
Yeah, good. All right, number 5, courage or patience?
Patience. I guess the more years you go on in life, you realize things don't always come just because you wanted them to happen. Patience can I elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, I love it. I want to hear it.
There's, I've been consulting this way for 14 years. There's been clients where I've wanted to fire, or a family member in that consultant, right? And it's like this one particular one's been my longest standing client that for a number of years I thought about like, I'm not a good fit. But I stayed patient with the process and got to learn people, adapt. I changed, they changed, and patience sometimes can bring good fruit instead of just bailing and being courageous to go find a new client when you could you need courage to stay there too.
Yeah, I'm going through that journey exactly right now too. As I get mature, I realize that what I lack is patience. When I was younger, I was courageous to keep on, I know what I want, jumping from this to that to anything, right? Whether it's relationship or business or whatever. But now it's patient to learn about yourself, to go endure through the problem rather than...
It's almost courageous to have the patience. People that, just take action all the time. It takes courage to wait.
Yeah. And I think a lot of learnings is actually about yourself. When you're impatient, it's kind of you inflicting on your values and your perception and everything, right? That's how I feel. So I love that answer. All right. Thank you. Well, definitely got to know you a bit more there. Let's go back to business questions. Okay. So in terms of ROI. So because I'm kind of fresh in this sales thing, as long as my sales girl replaces my job, right? Like I used to do sales. I used to have to sit in the discovery call strategy, let's just say. Now I don't have to do that anymore. I was kind of just happy that is enough of ROI for me. Yes. But then I guess I've been advised that bringing in a salesperson in means that, let's just say they're on $70,000 a year, let's just say. Now they need to bring in X times the amount of revenue for you, like not just 70K more, but I don't know. So can you elaborate on this whole ROI thing?
You could just look at it as, a simple formula that you look at is 33%. So the salary should be 33%, let's say. If they're out there generating if you're feeding them the leads and they're just closing business, that's much different. That would be a lower percentage. But if they have a combination of doing leads, but doing networking, finding new prospects, getting referrals, generating business for you, then I'd say, just an easy way to say is like, okay, 3 times that would be like a minimum. Let's have at least $210,000 come in from those sales.
When someone just gets hired, right? There's like learning about your company, learning about the process, learning about everything. Like when should we actually really be tracking like the return?
You want to set it all up up front. That's what I was saying with the comp plan thing. You want to know what your goals are. So the salaries just needs to be competitive for a fair trade in services in your marketplace for this type of job. So whatever that is, great. That's what it should be. If it's 40, if it's 150, if it's 70, whatever. And then you have to say, what do I need from, the goal like we're talking about? And then you say, all right, what should I expect in a ramp up time? Month one, how many conversations, how many proposals, how many wins? Month 2. You actually it's a ramp up to someone who's starting in a new industry that needs that. Some industries, they jump in the seat and the leads are just coming at them. It's just like, sell this much this month. So you need to figure that part out up front. And we do all that. That's what we do.
Yeah. And would you recommend, because in my case, we kind of help the sales role to be a lot easier, because if they spend so much time trying to get the leads and the network, then they don't have really time to close. So we kind of have the marketing team helping to bring in the leads so that they just purely doing that. Is that ideal for a salesperson? Yeah.
every sales role is different. So for your salesperson, it's ideal. For a business, if your business model allows you to invest X amount for marketing to generate leads where all that person has to do is close, follow up, and they get really good at that. I mean, that's fine. I mean, there is an old school thinking that says everyone has to be a cold caller, prospector, find it, hunt it, kill it, type of thing. Well, I mean, if that's the job, then you better do that well. If it's just nurture it and close it, then you do that well. So depends on the role.
So that means sometimes a sales role might be marketing and sales under your umbrella. You're actually marketing a salesperson. But in this case, my girl is purely a salesperson doing the close, right? That's different. All right. In terms of the process, so let's just say,
on your girl there, your girl needs to be really good at follow up. Okay. So if they don't wrap up now, either you have a good marketing for the follow up too, or they need to be very quality. Every conversation, critical. Excellent conversationalist.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. We kind of go, look, we're going to do all the parts of bringing the leads in and you're talking to them. But then after they've already spoken to you, it is your job to close them then or close them later on and set that. So we're learning a bit of that. Now, actually, before I ask about the process, I wanted to ask about what is the best strategy now? Like I know with cold calling in the past used to be a lot more, acceptable, or I don't know. I don't pick up cold calls anymore. Like when I get phone numbers, I don't pick up. Do you think it's still valid to do that kind of cold calling, or what is the best method nowadays for salespeople?
I mean, when I'm doing that, I use services, the service that will just do the cold calling. Because if someone else is doing the cold calling for some industries, it can still work. Like in commercial insurance, they have to renew every year. There's always an opportunity. They know about it. They're shopping for rates. So those calls could kind of get through now and then. But have someone else do it. And then when you get the lead, it's almost like it's a referral. That salesperson is referred in through the cold call service. So that works. It doesn't work for everything. So what was the second question?
What is the best marketing or sales method? Like, let's say the salesperson has to generate their own leads. Yeah. What do you feel that is a best effective way?
Well, that's a really tough question, but where they should be focusing more is where I used to focus on teaching people how to cold call. I focus on teaching people how to ask and receive more referrals. Okay. So not just network and hope the referrals come. Yeah. You got to network. Yeah. You got to keep finding people and talking to people, but how to ask in a way that helps Lynn know what the potential value is for someone that I want to put the picture in your mind of who the ideal client is for me and what they might be saying. Like, I'll give you an example. So, and if you know a small business that's like maybe 2 to 20 million in sales, and really maybe 2 to 10 million in sales, it has some salespeople, no sales manager. What this is important is the owner wants to grow. If the owner doesn't want to grow, then he just needs someone to babysit people. But if the owner wants to grow, he needs someone that can lead that growth. Okay, so if you know someone like that, has a good business, good solid business, it's done well, but you've heard them say, I just can't figure out how to get to that next place. That's when does anyone come to mind?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know, not on top of my head, but yeah.
All right.
But overall.
That's the question. Just one person. Don't say, so if you think of anyone, let me know. It's like, Can you think of one person right now? And they're not always going to think of someone, but all you're doing is you're doing a program and you're doing filters on Excel spreadsheet and you're trying to get their mind to go, and if they can think of one, then you could ask about that person and see if they'll do an introduction.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because sometimes we just ask, do you have anyone you can refer us to, or do you know anyone that might be able to use our service? But then it's kind of not clear. It's kind of, now we're describing our ideal client to them, then they can tell you, right? So I really love that.
They get it. We do all this marketing. We think they've read it all, right? They know. They should know. No.
Yeah. I really love that. And, because I run an outsourcing company using virtual staff from Philippines, it's just so much more cost effective. And I've really been able to free up my sales girl to do nothing but the sales call. Like, I don't want her booking appointments. I don't want her to do any of those things. Do you find that a lot of salespeople could be kind of wasting time or not as productive because they're having to do all the other things that's involved in the sales process?
Yeah, it's ideal. It's ideal if you can have someone just closing as much business as possible. Absolutely. That would be ideal setup for any business, I think. So It's all a cost, it's a cost thing. If it costs, fine for the salesperson to find and work relationships, and it needs a little bit more of their touch, and you just need it.
Yeah.
Doesn't?
Just like you needed another salesperson, before you go and hire another salesperson, why not look at the existing tasks that salesperson might be doing that could be delegated, right? Then it'll be cheaper than trying to hire another exactly the same role again, and it'll be even more expensive.
I got a company right now where, the salespeople mostly handle inbound leads and account management, the existing accounts and inbound, but they also do prospecting, and there's time for them to do that because their leads haven't overwhelmed them. But I told them, I could either keep hiring more salespeople or we could raise your level of performance. So, you guys were averaging 1.2. I think 1.5 should be our minimum. When we get to 1.5, I'll ask you guys want to do 2 million? Because if there's 6 of you doing 2 million, or I can get 12 of you doing 1 million, which way do you want to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And what would your suggestion be? Let's just say a business is doing at this level. Now they want to scale it. Do they have to wait to kind of have a lot of funding there to go and hire another salesperson? Or is it a good risk to kind of hire a salesperson so that more business could come, kind of thing?
It just depends on each business owner and their cash flow and how their plan works and how committed they are. I guess the bottom line is, are you committed to have that person you hire be successful? Are you just hoping you hire the right person that's going to do it for you?
Yes.
No, you have to be committed to the whole program, like you are with your person. I'm going to keep doing the marketing to figure out to keep this person busy, versus just like, come on, go sell more.
Yeah. All right, got it. All right. My process question was around, let's just say I was your client going, all right, well, I have 2 or 3 salespeople and I just want to get the best out of them and I'm really busy. What would be your kind of typical process that you would take them through?
Sure. Well, it's a good opportunity to plug the book, Part-Time Sales Management, because I wrote the book for small business owners to be able to manage in 10 to 20 hours a month their sales team. Now, here's the 5 areas I focus on. You got to believe in your people. If you don't, deal with it. Get the book and I'll show you how to deal with that. Okay. Next is you got to set clear expectations. They need to know what the company goals are. They need to know what their goals are. And then 3 is create an environment of accountability. How you do that is by having those expectations of results and activity. It's monitored in a reporting system, a CRM, that everyone can look at on a weekly basis and see how they stand or a daily basis. Then you have to have regular meetings. I call it a meeting cadence. I always have a weekly sales meeting with the team, a monthly one-on-one. The rest of the time they're selling. I don't have to meet too often, just enough. And the last piece is conversations. Have quality conversations. Be a kind boss, okay? Converse with your people. When they come to you and they need something, listen, because they usually need affirmation or an issue solved, okay? Salespeople like affirming. Well, all of us do. But they're going to have a story that they want to hear, like, all right, good job, high five. Or they got a problem and they need it solved. And if you start listening to solving those problems, they will come less. People come often and quickly when they don't trust the issues will get solved. When they know they will in a reasonable time frame, they'll send you an email instead of bug you and things like that. So it's about conversations and caring.
Love that. Yeah, I definitely need to read that as well because it is our focus area right now. I find business is a never ending kind of problem solving. Like you fix or you improve your operations and then next thing you're going to do your sales. And yeah, so we're at the sales bit, but I was lucky enough to kind of assign one of my operations manager to do the sales manager part too. And he just does a better job at me because you also need to be a little bit more data driven and KPI driven. And I'm more of a visionary and not like the
you have a good point there. I mean, yeah, I'm enthusiastic. You could tell I have passion for what I do. So there's that carrying piece, that internal drive. I probably like that more than all the data, but I understand the data is what allows me to manage a lot. If I don't have that, then it's all about feelings and stories and conversations too much. Yeah. The data has to be cut to the chase and help the person get where they want to go.
Yeah, because I finally understood recently that kind of like, all right, we want this X amount of revenue or sales, well, actions that this salesperson are doing every day to kind of get that, right? Yeah. It's kind of like you can't just hope and pray for this thing. And the only thing we can control is the daily actions or the weekly targets so that we can get that. Otherwise, we're just like, I hope we're going to hit this for some, I don't know. It was a really funny mindset I had back then and I didn't understand sales. Anyway, leads me to the last question last 2 questions actually, is what does a kind boss mean to you?
Caring, and someone asked me one time early on when I was first starting my business, what's your differentiator? And I just said, I think because I care about people. And that's what the sales managers I hire to work with my team, it's like, I'm not looking for the hottest pistol out there. I'm looking for someone who cares about people because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Caring is also kicking them in the butt and, confronting them and challenging them. So kindness can be mistaken as just nice,
Mm.
but I translate it to caring.
Yeah, kind but not weak. Kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes I always have the saying, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, because I can, I love that. Okay, Rene, so how do people actually work with you?
Well, the best thing to do is, two things. You can just pick up the phone and give us a call, but it's best to just go to the website and learn a little bit more. Salesmanagernow.com homepage, you'll find a little quick video, tons of resources. If you like to read blogs and learn, there's a ton there, but it's salesmanagernow.com. That'll get you going.
Yeah. And you're also active on LinkedIn, aren't you? That's how we connected too.
You connect with me and you'll see a little bit here and there as I bounce around.
All right. My last question is, what do you want the world to remember Rene for?
Well, that I cared. That if they met me, that they felt like I was genuine and I cared. That, they knew me. Yeah.
Well, you've done that job because I spoke to you once and I was like, oh my God, you're so kind. You're so caring. I need you to be on my podcast.
You're crying right now, okay?
I'm seeing a bit of like tears. So that is how genuine you are. When you said it's real, it's not just practical theory that you read, like big care or whatever, but I can feel it. And well, thank you.
I thank you for asking that question. It was a very powerful question because it's obvious there's things I have in dreams and goals that I like to do. But at the end of the day, it's really just one-on-one.
Simple, huh? In life, we forget that all we need to do is just how do we treat each other or each day. And sometimes we get caught up in our career and everything, and the stuff we do seems complicated. You're already living your dream. You're so caring and kind. So thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Great. I'm glad our paths have crossed.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. We hope this interview has inspired and humbled you to be a kind boss. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about our show. If you have any questions, please visit outsourcingangel.com. Until then, stay kind and spread love.